checking that out. But if you're struggling with live stream through our website, you can always go to Facebook or vice versa, Facebook or to our live stream on our website. See which one's working better for you. So I want to just share briefly with you all of the ways that we are offering support to you during this interesting time. So we have our Sunday mornings live stream as well as on Facebook. And we also have our Wednesday night, Awakening Wednesdays with Gino, that begins at 6:30. In addition, at 9:45 on Sunday mornings until about 11:30 after our gatherings on Sunday morning, we have a chat room. So it's an opportunity for you to come on a little bit early and connect with each other, and it's hosted by a practitioner. So we invite you to that, as well as we have our ongoing our ongoing nightly meditations at 7 p.m. that is facilitated either by me or by a practitioner. We have our home groups still going on. They're all virtual. They're all through Zoom. So if you're interested in joining a home group, now might be a good time to do that. Email Lee at universalspiritcenter.org. Lee at universalspiritcenter.org. All of our classes, we have 3 new classes. They're coming online this week and next week. I'll tell you more about that later. As well as our practitioners are always available for you. You simply go on our website, click guidance, and then pick a practitioner of your choice. So please know during this time that we are here for you. So I invite you to take a deep breath, settle in wherever you are, settle in. And let's welcome our guest singer for this morning, Gino. Gino and Georgia, but this morning we'll have Georgia. Come on down, Georgia.
Come on now. We are family. I got brothers, sisters, and me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. We are family. Hey, yeah. I got all my sisters and me. We are family. Hey, yeah. Get up, everybody, and sing. Sing with us. Everyone can see we're together as we walk around, and we fly just like birds of a feather. Don't tell no lie. All of the people around us, they say, can we be that close? Just let me state for the record, we're giving love in the family doors. We are family. Yeah. I got all my sisters with me. So yes, we are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. We are family. Hey, yeah. I got all my sisters with me and brothers too. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Everyone can see we're together as we walk around, and we fly just like Reverend Kevin. I won't tell no lie. All of the people around us, they say, Georgia, can we be that close? Just let me speak for the record. We live and love in a family down. We are family, yeah. I got all my sisters with me. Brother singing, we are family, hey, yeah. Get up, everybody, and sing. Say it to me. We are family. I got my sisters with me. I got everybody. Sing it, Georgia, sing it now. We are family, hey, yeah. Get up, everybody, and sing. some love on that and the, I don't know, the little the dancing man. Or should I call him the dancing reverend? My name is Gino Walker, and I am blessed to be your musical director. Georgia, I'm sending you some more love for We Are Family. Getting everybody stirred up. You had to be dancing at home. I know you had to be dancing. If you weren't then, come on, sing along and dance along with us right now. Hey, hey, hey! You know this song. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Can't you feel it? I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do, you can do, you can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Come on. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that we can, you and I, and we and you and I, and we and you and I can do. I cannot do all the good that this world needs right now, but the world right now needs all the good that you can do. Oh yeah, you can do, I can do, Julie can do, Rev can do, Lily can do, Laurie can do, you, that can do, who? Thank you.
Gino Walker, as well as earlier Georgia, and Linda on the piano. So I have a couple of quick announcements that I want to share with you. The first is tomorrow night at 6:30, we'll have our men's group meeting via Zoom. So men's group meeting, all men or men identified are welcome to that. You would simply, if you don't get the link for that, the Zoom link, email lee@universalspiritcenter.org. I also want you to know we have 3 classes coming up. The first one, this sounds really exciting, Making Peace with Your Eats. That's with Liz Myers. That begins April 21st, Tuesday night. And the purpose of the class is to bring an experience of peace, balance, and understanding to what you eat. Maybe some of us are eating a little more these days than normal, so this would be a great class for you. So you're going to explore releasing guilt and shame around food. You're going to be breaking that cycle of dieting. You're going to be mindful eating and balance, mindful and balanced eating. You're going to explore emotional eating and how habits form, and strategies for stress management. So that meets on Zoom. Register online for that class, and you will be sent a Zoom link. The second class that we have is with our own Tony Sejas, prayer practitioner, and it's called The Creative Process in the Individual. That's going to be Wednesday night starting April 26th at 6:30. And this certified class explores how to take charge of our lives and create a happy existence. The book that is explored is Thomas Troward, his writings, powerful author. And we explore the genius of this man and experience greater prosperity. and freedom. So that's Tony, and this is a certified class, and we are having next Sunday at 12 p.m. after our gathering, we are having a practitioner orientation. So where any of you are thinking about maybe becoming a licensed prayer practitioner
Do all the good
in
you
our
can do.
community, this class is for you. It's just a general class that gives you information and more specifically helps you plan to determine which classes that you need to enter that into the fall. So come check it out. Again, email Lee at universalspiritcenter.org, and Lee will send you a link for that experience. And the final class we have is Healing Through Story. Tell Yours. That starts Wednesday, April 27th, and it's a powerful 6-week curriculum which culminates in a showcase. Learn to share your personal story on stage to empower and to heal. Our own beloved Brenda Edelman will be teaching that. She's a renowned artist and teacher. So thanks for all your attention during those announcements. It's simply our attempt to support you again during this time. So a lot of words. So I invite you to take a breath right into your heart, to just settle in. And our own prayer practitioner, Donna Girardi, will be leading us this morning in our time for meditation. So she's doing this from her home. She's on video, and they're preparing her for this now. So it's a great opportunity to just settle in. So I invite you to start to settle in. Deep, full breath.
Good morning, Universal Spirit Center. It is such an honor to be here with you today from my living room, and I'm feeling the presence of all of your love across the ethers as we join together. So this is our time of giving and receiving. No, not of giving and receiving. This is the time of going within, of meditation,
Did people hear
of
me?
allowing ourselves to be fully served by the words spoken here now. So I just invite you, wherever you are, if you're in your own living room, to just take a breath
My
and
mic was
allow
not
yourself to sink in to whatever
on. My mic
place
was not on.
you're at, and to let yourself be fully served by this reading and by my prayer. We'll have some silence between the two. So just in closing your eyes, that is overarching and indwelling all things. There is nothing separate from that perfect wholeness that is God. And we are all part of the unified field of the divine presence, love, and joy and peace and freedom and hope. And so this morning, I am so grateful for the opportunity to gather together with each of the dear souls who are watching this morning, knowing that we are infinitely and always connected by the love that is God, regardless of time or space. That the love is continual and always a healing and uplifting presence, giving hope in a time of confusion and change, allowing healing out of chaos, loving itself and all things through every aspect of every moment. So that is indeed happening at Universal Spirit Center this morning for each one of us present. And I am especially grateful this morning for the beautiful musical talents of our amazingly talented Gina Walker, of the beautiful Georgia Winfrey and her amazing voice, and of Linda Ely, who plays like an angel. And I'm so grateful for the wisdom and the power that Kevin, beloved Reverend Kevin, shows up as each and every Sunday, inspiring each of us in a way that is what's called for right here and right now. So knowing that this is happening all by divine appointment, I simply turn the rest of this gathering back over to Spirit and allow it to unfold with the love and the grace and the ease with which it will naturally. And so it is.
Shine, be glorious, reflect the divine. Shine, be glorious, reflect the divine. Spirit of mine, Spirit divine, let me shine. I open my heart, even in the dark. The light of my God always shines bright, even in the night. Shine, be glorious, reflect the divine. Shine, be glorious, reflect the divine. Spirit of mine, Spirit divine, let me shine your light. Let me be a vessel, let me be a vessel, let me be a vessel of love. Let me be a vessel, let me be a vessel, let me be a vessel of love. I open my heart this miracle day. The love of my God gives me all the good I can take. Let me be a vessel of love. Let me be a vessel. Let me be a vessel. Let me be a vessel of love. Shine, be glorious. Reflect the divine spirit of mine, spirit divine. Let me shine your light.
Georgia Winfrey, thank you, Georgia. That was beautiful. And I think Amy wrote that song, right? Amy Steinberg, our beloved Amy Steinberg wrote that. So I understand you couldn't hear me earlier. So let me know you can hear me now. I'm reading your comments. So, hey, Joseph from San Miguel. And I know that Puerto Vallarta is watching as well. Let me know if you can hear me. That would be great. Just send out a text. I think the only announcement really that was missed that you didn't probably see on screen was on Monday night at 6:30 is our men's group. So if you're interested in being a part of that, email Lee at universalspiritcenter.org. Good, you can hear me. I'm so glad you can hear me. Yeah. So Lee at universalspiritcenter.org if you want to attend our Zoom men's group tomorrow night at 6:30. Let's take a breath here. So I want to share a quote that I ran across from Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza says, "We don't perceive things in reality the way that they are. We perceive reality the way that we are." I want to read that again. We don't perceive things in reality the way that they are. We perceive reality the way that we are. I find that really to be true. You know, if I'm feeling victimized or in victimhood, everyone's oppressing me. If I'm feeling in struggle, then I'm perceiving conflict everywhere. If I'm feeling empowered, you know, if I feel like I'm rising up in my true self, then I feel like everything assists me in that. So I'm really excited about what I want to share with you this morning because there's some new thoughts, some new awarenesses that I'm having that I want to share with you. So I want to talk about how struggle, the experience of struggle, with which on some level probably many of us are experiencing, but the experience of struggle can awaken the divine self. The experience of struggle can awaken the divine self. So we saw that last week when we had the Easter story. You know, we had Jesus having had at one point in his life encountering his shadow in the desert, 40 days and 40 nights in the desert. We had the whole betrayal of his last week, the agony in the garden, his death. And then what we have in Easter Sunday is the divine self rising up. The divine self rising up. So this is the divine self rising above any condition, any story, any circumstance in our lives. So I've been feeling kind of in that energy. And I've been thinking lately of the story of Job, that Old Testament Jewish story of Job. Maybe because of what's going on in our world today. I don't know, but the story of Job kept coming through my mind. So this last week I did some research on Job from a metaphysical and esoteric point of view. What's the meaning of Job? So it's a brilliant and amazing story that I think can fit us so well as to where we're at right now. So this story parallels Jesus' story, but also the story of Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. There's a same message there. So here's what we've got. We've got three different faith traditions. We've got Christianity, Judaism, and Hinduism, all pointing to a universal truth. And the universal truth is, through struggle, divine self is awakened. Through struggle. So we talked last week about the story, the Christian story of that struggle in the divine self. I want to briefly touch on the Bhagavad Gita, but first I want to share the story of Job. So scripture scholars say that the story of Job was probably one of the very earliest stories written that is included in the Old Testament. So given that, we could assume that the religious trappings that kind of clouded other stories probably weren't as present in the story of Job because it was written so much earlier than the other writings. So we could probably assume that it points to more of a universal truth. So just to keep that in mind as I tell the story. So the story of Job starts off where there's a religious man, or not a religious, I'm sorry, a righteous man. There's a righteous man that lives in the city of Uz, U-Z, lives in the city of Uz. So a couple things about that right there. Metaphysically, the city of Uz means it's the farthest city east, so it's the one closest to the rising sun. So this story right off metaphysically means this story's about awakening. It's about the divine self rising up. So we're talking about an individual who is not stuck in lower energies, as we might say today, lower chakra energies. He's not stuck. Job is a man, is an individual on the evolutionary process, on a divine unfolding in a raising up. It's a guy who's on the path. So that's something to note. So very early in the story, Satan asked God, can I visit Job? And anytime we know that Satan visits, there's tests and trials, right? So this is interesting because God says, who are you? To Satan. And Satan says, I am the one that walks up and down the land. So this isn't the Satan that was banished into hell forever. This is an energy that lives with us, hidden, but lives with us. It's that dark. It's that part in us that we're ashamed of, that we're guilty of, or that we feel guilty about, that we deny, that we push aside, that we keep in darkness. It's the shadow work. It's the shadow work. Anytime we see Satan in Scripture, the metaphysical meaning is, hey, guess what? There's shadow work to be done. There's an opportunity for you or a lesson for you to come home to your full self. So anyway, another interesting point in this is when Satan goes to Jesus and asks to tempt Job. The story points that the divine is the ultimate power, is really the only power. That every other entity or power is seen within this divine energy, struggle, shadow work, temptations, anything. It's seen in this larger picture of the divine life. It's a great framing early on of the author who basically said, God is the ultimate reality, which is the exact same thing that Ernest Holmes says. The divine, no matter what we're going through, the divine is the ultimate reality. So 3 things happen when Satan goes to visit Job. 3 things happen. The first is at some point in the story, early on in the story, his sons come to him. Job's sons come to him and say, the fires burned your crops, burned your livestock, burned your house, you are homeless, and you have no opportunity for livelihood. So sons in this story metaphysically means the results of a prior action. The results of a prior action, or thinking of an earlier time. It's the patterns within us that produce bad news. That's the metaphysical meaning here. So Job is first encountered with those old
patterns of thinking that were set at a prior time, because remember, Job is on his spiritual journey, on his evolution. So it's an experience of a prior negative thinking. So that's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens is his companion, his wife, says to him, how could you still trust in this God who has taken everything from you? You know, it's that voice in us that, especially when we go through hardship or struggle, it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust that there's a divine unfolding going on. So she's that voice in Job that says, what are you doing? Trusting this God who's taken everything away from you. So that's the second thing that happens in the story after Satan visits Job. So the third thing that happens, there were some friends, 3 friends who lived in a foreign land, 3 friends of Job, who heard he was going through great suffering. So they journeyed to come. This is fascinating. They journeyed to come to visit Job. But from afar, they could see that Job was really suffering. So they thought, we don't want to be overwhelmed by his suffering. So they stayed back. They did not come to support him. It says something like they didn't speak or move for 7 days or whatever. They didn't want to get too near the suffering. So the very sources in which Job might feel support from and comfort during this time, they aren't available to him. They aren't available. And that might be our exact situation now. The very ways that we, let out stress or that we comfort ourselves aren't available for us. So after these 3 things happen to Job, he hits rock bottom. It's rock bottom. He enters the dark night of the soul, which is a very spiritual kind of term, where it means we meet only darkness. We hit rock bottom. And he turns to God. And he says, I am a righteous man. I have always followed what you've expected of me. And now you turn your back on me and you punish me? Let's take a breath here. If we were together, I would ask you to raise your hands if you ever felt this way. I'll raise my hand. Gino's raising her hand in the back, and Linda wants to raise her hand in the back. So I want to pause the story here where Job says to God, you betrayed me. I want to pause, and I want to go to the story of the Bhagavad Gita. It's one of the oldest, powerful scriptures in the Hindu faith. And it's simply a dialogue between Arjuna, which is the ordinary man, just like Job is kind of could be us, kind of that person who's on a spiritual path, ordinary man on a spiritual path. And Arjuna is having a discussion with Lord Krishna, but he doesn't know it's Lord Krishna yet. So Lord Krishna is commanding him to engage in a battle for his authentic self. And Arjuna shines away from the battle. It's struggle, it's battle. I can't do this. I can't. And he refuses. He refuses to be called forth into the struggle for the divine self. And through the dialogue between Arjuna and Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna reveals to Arjuna through word and through experience who he is, the divine source of everything. It's a very powerful, epic piece in which the divine reveals its glory to Arjuna. So Arjuna's small thinking about how things should be, they get shattered. They break apart. And as Lord Krishna is showing the ultimate radiance of divinity, as he's showing this, Arjuna is overwhelmed with all that glory, overwhelmed with the experience of the infinite. It even says in the scripture, it's a great line, that the hairs on his arms are standing up in overwhelm. Arjuna's response to Lord Krishna as he reveals himself is this. I don't want to get it wrong. He says, "Stop. I am mere mortal, and I can't contain or witness all of your glory." Let me actually read that again. Let me find it and read it here. I'm not finding it. But he says, "Stop. Your glory is too much for me. Remember that I'm mere mortal." So that's the story of the Bhagavad Gita. So let's go back to the story of Job. The parallels are striking. So we left the story with Job saying to God, "I've trusted you and you've betrayed me." So God turns to Job, and here's how God answers Job. I think this is so great. "Job, gird up your loins like a man." Job, gird up your loins like a man. That's the Old Testament way of saying, put on your big boy panties and man up. That's it. Put on your big girl panties and woman up. Get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself. Put on your big person panties. That's what he's saying. That's what God says. That's great. So then God proceeds to say, he takes a whole 2 chapters. I'm only going to use three stanzas so you get a sense of this. But God uses 2 chapters where he says to Job things like this. "Job, were you there when I laid the foundations of the earth or enclosed the seas with doors? Job, were you there when I created the morning stars and then they sang out together in joy? Job, have you ever commanded the morning and caused the dawn to happen? Job, have you ever entered the springs that bring forth water to the oceans? Tell me, have you?" And here's Job's response. I think it's great. Job's response is, "I'll put my hand over my mouth," meaning I'll shut up. I get it. You know, it's those times when you're so sure that you're right. You're so positive. You maybe you're in an argument with someone or a disagreement, and you're so clear you're right. And then, I don't know, as they explain it or something else happens, you realize, oh my God, they were right. Isn't that a horrible feeling? It's the worst feeling in the world. So that's Job. That's Job. I'll be quiet. So this is great. Job is at a point where his small thinking, he realizes, cannot contain the infinite. Jesus, from the Christian tradition, Arjuna from the Hindu tradition, and Job from the Jewish tradition, all have an experience of struggle, which actually awakens the true self. Job goes on from this point in the story, and he marries another woman, has a bunch of children, bunch of livestock, bunch of crops. So his descendants are multiplied. He increases. The universal message, I think, here in the story is this. Arjuna, Jesus, and Job all got a glimpse of divinity. And in that glimpse, it opened them up to their heart space. They moved from ego mind and from mentality into an experience of a rising up of themselves, because all three characters in these stories go on to a greater glory of themselves. I think this is a powerful message for us. I think you and I can get caught up in all the struggle, all the drama, all the limitations and the smallness of our lives. We could do that. Or we could get quiet, which is exactly what this time is called forth now. We could settle down. We could get quiet. And we can open to what it is that the universe wants to tell us. We, as a species and as individuals, have never before been called to such a time to come apart, to get quiet, to get still, and to open to the divine experience. I've said this before, but it's not been true before as much as it's true now. There is a call for us right now to rise up to our true selves. I invite you to listen to me, to listen with me in this call. So I invite you to close your eyes, and I invite you to place your hand over your heart and breathe deeply in. And feel the coming to yourself, the coming away from the noise and activity that all humanity is feeling. Feel it in yourself. The call to come home to yourself. And as everyone is being called, feel the call to be calm and quiet and with yourself. And open here now to the rising of the divine self. Open to the divine message. What is the message, the divine message for you right now in this time? What, through this struggle, through this call to solitude, what is being called forth in you? Let's open to that right now. Take a deep breath in. Feel it, open to it, experience it. So I speak my word on our behalf and on the behalf of all humanity, knowing that there's a power, a rising, an energy that's coming forth within us during this time. I know that the struggle that we feel is only an awakening of that which is most true about us. So we breathe that in, we open to it, we let it be, and so it is.
Broken down and tired, living life on a merry-go-round. You can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Mountains, we gon' walk it out. Mountains. I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up high like the wave. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up and we'll do it 1,000 times again. Silence isn't quiet, and it feels like we're getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like crying, but I promise you, bring the world to its feet and move mountains. Bring the world to its feet. Move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up high like the wave. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up and we'll do it 1,000 times again. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other. For that we have each other, yeah. 'Cause we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. I'll rise up high like the wave. I'll rise up in spite of the
I'll bet you heard Gino. Wow! To have Gino and Georgia in this small room and sing as they're doing is very powerful. So kudos to Gino and to Georgia. So Dana Mosser wrote us a letter. I asked her to write us a letter to you, so she wants to give a big shout out to all of you. Greetings to everyone of our Universal Spirit Center community and beyond. What a gift that we could be together during this unique time in history. My deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard for the newly formatted Sunday gatherings and to making a heartfelt live stream experience. Such a dedicated group. Kevin, Lee, Gino, Georgia, Lori, and Linda, and all those others who have worked behind the scenes. Many, many thanks to you all. I am delighted that Universal Spirit Center can now generously offer our music and our message beyond our own doors to the greater world. Much as I miss our welcome, loving hugs, and smile in our in-person services, all of this quiet time and reflection, I am noticing some even broader and deeper gifts of Universal Spirit Center that bless my life. I shared one related experience recently, and Kevin asked me to write about it. So here it goes. Last Saturday was our first Zoom meeting for our monthly Vision Core group. I realized I was preparing for disappointment since I so love the live energy of our visioning as we come together. But as we moved into capturing the highest vision for Universal Spirit Center, I instantly felt energetically connected to others in the Zoom room and to Spirit. The words lean into and community popped immediately into my awareness. I saw the image of a huge tree with strong roots growing deep into the earth, as well as branches stretching boldly upwards. The image of this powerful tree slowly transitioned into a sense of community as support. It became clear that the tree was about being community and being support for each person in the community. I felt that support as I leaned back into the tree trunk. A sense of trust rose up within me, and I noticed that I could allow my heart and my mind to simply open in this moment and to look forward. There was an active sense of flow forward while still being supported. As the quiet of this visioning group continued and my heart continued to open, I knew that the powerful support of the tree was symbolizing the supportive community that is Universal Spirit Center. I could lean into this support, knowing that the divine has my back. My heart fully open, and I felt the free flow of love and courage. Gentle tears within me arose as we completed our visioning session. I am so grateful to have been led to Universal Spirit Center and to be so actively participated in for so many years. Experiencing supportive, loving community through our Sunday gatherings, Wednesday nights, classes, visioning, affirmative prayer, music, volunteering, shared insights, and lots of loving laughter has led me to personal healing. This community, as I've often heard said, is truly a school of love. May it always continue to have our backs as we courageously grow in consciousness and invite others to join us in sharing light and love. To that end, I am honored to share my talents, treasures, and time to keep Universal Spirit Center alive and well. I hope you do too. I never want to reach out to this power for support and find the doors closed. Heartfelt hugs and love to all of you, wherever this service reaches you. I thank each one of you for being a part of Universal Spirit Center. Dana Mosser. So I want to thank all of you who continue to support Universal Spirit Center. And I invite you to place your hands over your heart right now. Taking a deep breath in. And asking this Universal Spirit, asking this infinite divine presence, what is it that is mine to give? How is it that I'm being called to serve and to support in a time such as this? So breathing in, I know that all of our giving is blessed in the power of love. And join with me in knowing this, as together we say, and so it is. Thank you.
Breathing that in. I allow, I receive, I accept, I believe that I have all I need. I allow, I receive, I accept, I believe that I have all I need now. I allow, I receive, I accept, I believe that I have all I need. I allow, I receive, I accept, I believe that I have all I need now. I allow, I receive, I accept, I believe that I have all I need. I allow, I receive, I accept, I believe that I have all I need. All I need, all I need now.
Gina Walker, I'm sure I'm not supposed to tell you she has tennis shoes on. I'm sure I'm not supposed to tell you that. So I want to take a few moments and just say, I miss you. I miss you. I really appreciate your continued support in many ways that you're supporting us. And please take advantage of the support that we offer you during this time. So I invite you to close your eyes. And if you're with someone and feel safe to hold their hands, do that. Or if you're alone, place your hands over your heart once more. And imagine that we're all together and we're joining hands. And imagine it's a bright, sunny day, and we're outside and we hear the birds singing. And it's safe to be together. And breathe into this energy here as our gathered sacred circle. And imagine that within each one of us and within all of humanity is a rising up beyond the struggle. And so we call forth within ourselves and within all of humanity this rising up of the divine. We say yes to it, we allow it, we lean into it, we let it be. And so it is. Amen.
You are the hands, you are the heart, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You sing to the world. Join me. You are the hands, you are the heart, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the hands, we are the heart, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the hand, I am the heart, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world, is a blessing to the world, is a blessing to the world, to the world. And one last thing I forgot to remind you of, Awakening Wednesday, that will take place this Wednesday. We will be doing our thing here, 6:30 to 7. And also, I want to say to the community, from the bottom of my heart, I got a shout out this week from the community, and I just want you to know how much that meant to me, how amazing it is to be here with you through this walk in presence. I never would have thought that I would be here at this place at this time, but we have come together for a divine purpose. And I want to thank the board. I want to thank every one of you, Reverend Kevin, Lee, Georgia, Linda, Lori. We couldn't do this thing without you, and I couldn't do it without each of you. And I really want you to know how much I appreciate you and how much your trusting in me helps me to fly even higher. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for sending that love out to me. I love you all. Have a great week.